The Chicago Bulls coaching search took a turn yesterday when one of the lead candidates, Sweeney, took the job for the Orlando Magic, leaving many Bulls fans to question and wonder, are the Chicago Bulls dragging their feet too long on this head coaching search, and could they miss out on other top candidates? We're going to talk a little bit about that. First, we'll talk about the Bulls also interviewing BYU head coach Kevin Young and why this probably has nothing to do with AJ DeBonsta, unless it does. We're going to talk a little bit about that, plus my favorite combinations at players at number 4 and number 15, and it's Saturday, so that means we're going to dive into the mailbag. All that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today, y'all. So a surprise name came up in the coaching candidate search, and that's Kevin Young, the current head coach of BYU, who just coached AJ DeBonsta, widely regarded as probably one of the best, if not the best prospect in this draft. And his name entering the mix gives another interesting path for the Chicago Bulls, right? Kevin Young has both NBA coaching experience and college head coaching experience. You look at what he did in Philadelphia and in Phoenix in that NBA background, that does matter in this search. Now, I've seen a lot of reactions after this was announced as far as, no, yes, whatever it is. And I want to say this, right? One thing that he has proven to do is proven to be able to build a program in BYU. That's just the reality of it. In his second season in BYU, he coached them to a well above winning record, right? So that's some good signs there. And college coaches, typically what you like and you expect to see from college coaches, especially coming over for young teams, is development. He had a 49-22 overall record and consecutive NCAA tournament appearances, including a Sweet 16 run in his debut year as the head coach of BYU. Now, we know that the Bulls have casted a very wide net in regards to their coaching candidacy, and this is another step in there. Could this also be maybe just a backdoor way to do a little reconnaissance on AJ DeBonsta? Maybe. I'm not going to lean in that way, but it could be, right? But I think the key thing is that he has NBA experience here, both with Phoenix Suns and with the Philadelphia 76ers, and that raises some questions on, hey, maybe there is more of an upside to this guy. Now, I get it. For a lot of people, the NBA coaching experience is going to matter above all. And I understand that. I'm not going to take that away from anybody in regards to that. I do like the fact that in college you have to recruit, you have to do all those type of things, and we'll see what's going to happen in regards to that, right? But one thing I do like, that the fact is that the Bulls are looking and overturning everything. Does he pop up as one of my favorite candidates for this head coaching position? No, I'm not even going to gas it like that. I think that it's an interesting guy. And the fact that the Bulls are looking in, more kind of unknown places in regards to it, and to see what he's going to end up turning into, because this could be a guy, you just never know, that ends up developing into maybe a really good head coach. But for many Bulls fans, the college coach thing is done for them. After Billy Donovan, that experience, they're not going to have a very high outlook on it, right? But he was with the Phoenix Suns for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, and then he was with the Philadelphia 76ers from 2016 to 2020. Then he was with the Phoenix Suns from 2020 to 2024, working himself up all the way to be the associate head coach. If I'm not mistaken, he would have been the associate head coach during their run to the NBA Finals, right? He definitely was in that organization during that time period. So there's what you come down to it. He also was somebody who did interview for open head coaching positions before. He interviewed for the head coaching position of the 76ers. It eventually went to Doc Rivers. So this is a guy that people have looked at before under that. So I think when you look at this overall, this is a candidate that maybe you want to bring him in. Maybe you feel like, some team building things in regards to it. He was listed in 2022 ESPN's young coaches to look out for that could turn into really good head coaches. So it's not that he's the only person. Over the last few years, he's interviewed for head coaching positions for the Houston Rockets, the Toronto Raptors, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Phoenix Suns, and now the Chicago Bulls. Reportedly, he's going to interview for. So there's been enough around him to where people have really thought about looking at him, for a head coaching role before. So take that for what you will. Over his time period in BYU, 49-22 over those 2 years, 23-12 last year, 26-10 the year before that. He made the Sweet 16 his first year. They got eliminated in the round of 64, this past year. But overall, he's had success, and he's had success at stops and helped develop players. And that is something that we're seeing. It's kind of the overarching thing that we're seeing a lot with this Bulls team, is that they are looking at guys that have had success in the level that they've been in and have had some development. So I think at that part, you look at it in there and say, okay, cool, it's another head coaching candidacy. But with Sean Sweeney now off the list, right? And, of course, they added a new guy in Kevin Young the same day, right? I wonder if there's anything to that. But now Sean Sweeney's off. So who's now the favorite, right? Like I said on yesterday's episode, there were a lot of Bulls fans that really did think the Bulls were waiting to make this hire because Sean Sweeney was the guy, and that's why they had to wait till the Spurs were eliminated. You see, the Orlando Magic didn't wait till the Spurs were eliminated. It's been announced. It is what it is. He was one of the best fits for Chicago. And I'm not going to gas that now or change it like that's not the case just because the Bulls didn't hire him. No, he's an amazing head coaching candidate, and he has deserved that. He's worked himself up to get to that point. He deserves it, right? And I do think losing him to another Eastern Conference team on top of that, it does sting, right? But this is why the Bulls have casted the wide net that they've casted in regards to this. Of course, there's now pressure on Bryson Graham and the Chicago Bulls to make sure that they land the right voice, because I tell you what, I can completely see Sean Sweeney going over to Orlando and having tons of success there, and I hope that he does. No knock on him. I'm not going to knock him just because he didn't come, to the Chicago Bulls. No, cool. But now you have to make that swing. And so now in regards to it, you look at the remaining candidates for the Chicago Bulls. You have, of course, my favorite guy, Chris Quinn, the assistant with the Miami Heat. We recently interviewed Johnnie Bryant, the Cavaliers assistant. Jerry Stackhouse is on that list as the former Golden State Warriors assistant. Ryan Schmidt with the Atlanta Hawks, a guy that would have been there with Bryson Graham. Lamar Skeeter with the Charlotte Hornets is on that list. Wes Unseld, still, if you want to name him. James Borrego, Tiago Splitter, Dave Bliss, Micah Nori, and now Kevin Young also gets added to that list. But the thing that that Bulls fans are asking, are the Bulls waiting too long and dragging their feet too long to make this hire? And here's what I'll say in this, right? Now, we've got reports afterwards that the Bulls search could go into the second week of June, right? And so that has led many people to ask, hey, are all these good candidates going to be off the board before the Bulls even get to the point of being able to do that, right? Of hiring. So you look at it, Micah Nori is interviewing for other positions, right? Tiago Splitter, is, of course, could still go to Portland, but it doesn't seem like he's, I know that he was initially mentioned as somebody the Pelicans could look into, but they've since hired a head coach, right? Chris Quinn, many of you guys know I do a show with Wes, Wes Goldberg, who is the host of Locked On Heat. And what he has told me before is that Chris Quinn will only interview because he's comfortable, because he's with the Miami Heat. So he only interviews for positions that he fully intends to take if offered. Now, Chris Quinn, I believe, did interview for the Pelicans. He was mentioned for the Orlando Magic as well. Both those teams have already hired. I don't think he's interviewed with anybody else, but the Dallas Mavericks could pivot towards Chris Quinn as well, with them having Cooper Flagg. So look out for that. If Chris Quinn does interview other places, I think you're starting to get to the place. But Dave Bliss and Johnnie Bryant, they still deserve attention as well. So I'll say this, right? There is a case for patience, right? Patience could lead you to get the right guy. The quick decision doesn't always mean it's the right decision, right? But at the same time of that, you can talk about, hey, if you study long, you study wrong. Sometimes you wait too long and you kind of overthink things, and then you end up holding your dick, right? And wow, that's crazy. So you can do that part of it, right? So I'm not here to tell anybody that they aren't wrong for being concerned that this search may take too long. And here's what I'll say, but my rebuttal to that would be, if we get the right guy, we get the right guy. I don't think anybody's going to look back on it and say, damn, it took you a month to hire Chris Quinn if he ends up being the right guy. If it takes us a month to hire Dave Bliss, and 3 years from now we're talking about how Dave Bliss is one of the best, Chicago Bulls coaches of all time, or on that trajectory, nobody's going to go back and think, well, damn, it took you a month to hire this guy. So it just comes down to what I've been saying with Bryson Graham for a long time. Get the right guy, whether it's a draft pick, whether it's a coach, whether it's a free agent. Just get the right guy. If you get the right guy, all the other talk around it, all the other concern around it, it gets mitigated some and it drops down some. So that's all you can do. That's all we can expect. And let's hope that Bryson Graham does get the right guy in this. So let me know what you guys think on that part down below. with that said, before we dive into the mailbag, I want to talk about my favorite combinations of players at 4 and 15. And this is kind of a thing that I kind of revamp every time based off how the mocks are going. There's a new guy on the list that becomes an absolute steal at 15, and some have him dropping as low as 14. And if he's there, I think the Bulls should be aggressive about moving up. But, of course, Caleb Wilson and Cam Boozer at number 4. It just is what it is. You're at number 4, you take who falls, whether it's Cam Boozer, whether it's Caleb Wilson, or whether by some stretch of lunacy by the other teams, if Darren Peterson does fall to number 4, which I don't think is going to happen, you take him. You don't think about it, and you take whoever falls at the top 4. But at number 15, I think either with Caleb Wilson or Cam Boozer, I like Cameron Carr. And I like Cameron Carr because he's the shooter, he's the off-ball scorer, and he's the defender that fits with everything else that we have going on with this team. And even if we change that, he's the type of player that can fit in within it. He's a 3-level scorer that doesn't need the ball to be effective, and he defends and rebounds pretty damn well. And I think there's more passing there as far as system passing that he's really good at. So Cameron Carr continues to be one of my favorite guys potentially at that number 15 spot. But then Jaden Quantins, this is a guy that I think he has top 10 talent if healthy. And I've seen people say, why would you want to draft a player that's injured? It's all that, because he's that good of a player. If you watch Jaden Quantins play basketball when he is healthy, he is that good and that worth of the risk there. The upside of if Quantins is there, he has, I'll say it this way. If Quantins didn't get hurt or waited longer because he rushed back from the ACL injury, waited longer and had a majority healthy season, we're talking about somebody who's probably a top 8 pick. That's the type of talent that I want to bet on. So I think that even if you get Caleb Wilson and then get your big and Jaden Quantins, if you get Cam Boozer and you get Jaden Quantins, then your 4 and 5 is locked down for a while. Jaden Quantins is probably not going to start right away, but you project to be pretty solid there at that starting position. But there's a player that's starting to drop in a lot of mocks, and I think this is one of the situations where teams are going to overthink themselves if he does. Braden Burries is starting to fall down a lot of mocks, and I tell you what, man, it wakes a lot of things up. If you can walk away from a draft with Cam Boozer and Braden Burries, even Caleb Wilson and Braden Burries, I think that would be such a huge thing. And with the rumor going on that Bryson Graham does want to get a 3rd first-round pick to get back into the first round, I'm not saying that that's necessarily the target, but could be, right? I think that this is about how pieces fit together. You look at people feel weird about Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey, as it stands right now, is future. He's gonna be a part of this team until he's not part of this team. If you look at a future where you have Josh Giddey, Braden Burries, Montes Buzelis, Cam Boozer, you'd have to find your 5, whether it's Mark Williams, Walker Kessler, whoever you can get in free agency, whatever it ends up being. Man, is that not? You still need a center and a big. You need to find your center and your big of the future. But man, that's a really good platform to build off on if you go forward, and even change that. If it's Caleb Wilson, Jaden Quantins, right? You get a really good play. So it just goes back to what I've been saying. You have an absolute great chance to walk away with this with your roster being drastically improved and you having a foundation of young pieces. When you add in Noah Essengay, who still needs to develop and all those type of things, that really the Bulls can build a really exciting young core. We just got to find the right pieces to develop it. But let me know your favorite combinations at 4 and 15. Something we're going to go. You could throw in 38 in there as well if you have a favorite pick at number 38. But it is Saturday. That means it is mailbag day. Let's get into these voicemails, man. This one's from Soul.
What's good, Haize? This your boy Soul getting you a call. I know it's been a while since I didn't call, but pretty much this is my favorite time of the year because, hey, ain't nothing going on in the basketball-wise, but, all the off-season stuff, and I get to listen to you even more because there's no national media hate on the Bulls, so I love that even more. Even though I listen to you all the time, every day, even when I was at work, you guys made it so good for me, so thank you. But pretty much I wanted to talk about is I notice a lot of callers keep talking about like, hey, trade for this person, trade for that person. A lot of times it'd be big men and stuff like that. I think people got to realize this. That was for the old Bulls, the team that we had during the season. AK traded most of that team away. So now I feel that we should keep our picks and just get talent. No matter if it's big, small, whatever the case may be. Yes, we do need a big, but we need smalls too. I mean, we need everything. He traded everything away. And it makes me wonder, Was AK the smartest person in the room? Did AK know that he was about to get fired? So he was like, hey, I'm going to trade away all the assets to give y'all pretty much second rounder. Because y'all about to screw me anyways. I think AK might have had a clue of that, but that could be just my theory. That'd be wild, though, if he did know. But one thing he did know was 2026 was going to be a good summer, and it's going to be a wonderful summer without his ass. But, yep, I can't wait to see what Bryson Graham do with the draft, with the coaching staff, everything. I trust in this guy for some reason. I like his background and everything. And I'm liking the staff that he's already putting together. So we'll see. Hey, go Bulls, see red. Man, let's look forward for this offseason, y'all. Peace.
First, thank you for the support. I am in this really appreciative, reflective era of the channel. We're in the midst of like having one of our best stretches ever. So thank you guys for that, and thank you for the support. But I'll say I agree with you. The needs of the Bulls have changed drastically. There's still some Bulls fans that say, we don't need any guards. And it's like, look at the guards that we actually have under contract. We absolutely do need guards. So, you know, if that's what's the best on the board, then you draft a guard. We do need a guard, right? We're not guard heavy anymore like we were for the last 5 years. So I understand why that mindset's there, but we do need to update that, right? And to your point, AK always said, wait till the summer of 26. And now it looks like the summer of 26 is a big point for the Chicago Bulls to pivot and to change their direction. But part of that change, thank God, was AK not being here to lead that direction anymore, right? So yes, change needed to happen, and change is happening, but he had to be part of that change as well. And we'll see what changes with this roster, what changes about the direction. Let's see where it's going to go. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, man. This one's from Hiram.
What's up, Haize? This is Hiram Wallace. Now, I just saw your video on Io Sumo, or the rumors. I think it's very realistic that we could get this guy. We have the draft before we have the free agency. So we could show him how much we changed within the front office, new coaching staff, and we could show him how the new draft pick between Caleb Wilson and Morris Johnson or Jaden Brinton. If he sees all this talent, new talent on our team, we could sit down with him and show him how we have Giddey and Trey Jones, the rookie, and Jalen Smith, Caleb Wilson and Brazelis at forwards, me, Estegay and Jalen Smith at our forwards. I think if we have a strong chance of having this guy come back to Chicago. Okoro and Patrick Williams and Dillingham, stashed on the bench. That's a strong roster. I think that could contend with the 6th seed, like the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Hawks, and the other competition. You mentioned the Lakers, but I strongly feel like the Lakers is going to sign Austin Reeves, and the Nets are garbage, so I'm not worrying about the Nets who has cap space. And Minnesota, you talk about Minnesota salary dumping their power forward or center, but you just told us that there's only 3 teams that has the cap space to under the cap. So, I can't see the Lakers taking on those bad contracts for Minnesota or the Bulls or the Nets. So I think Minnesota's going to be stuck with those guys. So if we offer Io, let's say $23 million, we could have a strong chance of getting this guy back. And that would be a strong roster. And I definitely think he would want to come back. There's not many good rosters like we could put together, and also the $23 million that he could join next year. So, and just let me know what you think, Dave.
It is, of course, possible to get Io back, right? The Bulls can offer the money, but I don't know if that's going to be Io's in a winning situation now. He may want to go to another winning situation. And keep in mind, just because the Bulls are the only teams with cap space, it doesn't mean teams can't work out signing trades and other things like that. So the Bulls, the Lakers, and the Nets have cap space. Let's just X out the Nets, right? We would X out the Bulls too because they're not a winning team, but because he's from Chicago and he played here, that's why people have him there. The Lakers are, they are a team that even if they do re-sign Austin Reeves, they are projected to have they can have $100 million under the first tax apron. So they can also try to swing for Io. It'll have to probably be the mid-level exception, but Minnesota it seems like they are content with clearing space, especially with Dante DiVincenzo tearing his Achilles, and he's probably going to be out all of next year. He's an expiring contract. They're probably going to look to move that to be able to keep Ayo Dosunmu because you're not going to get anything out of Dante anyway this season. So I think all signs still point to him returning to Minnesota. But hey, if Bryson wants to take a shot at it, cool, right? If he doesn't return to the Lakers, the Bulls can offer the most money, but other teams can offer money too. We just got to see what's going to happen there. All right, let's get into this next one, man. This one's from Vikram.
Yo, what's up? It's Vikram. Yeah, I kind of just wanted to talk about like, just the Bulls overall, because seeing my friends who are like huge Knicks fans, because I live in like the Jersey area, so all my friends are Knicks fans. Just seeing them happy, just like it hurts. It really hurts, because I remember back when I was like younger and Jimmy was just traded, like that was when I really, really got into basketball. Cause like right before Jimmy left, like I was like starting to learn how to play properly and like actually become like good at basketball. So he taught me a lot. Watching him taught me a lot. Those teams they weren't that great, but they were good, you know, and they were better than this shit and that we got right now. And then after we traded him, I was like, it's gonna come back. And like seeing like my friends who are all Knicks fans, we were just both in poverty together, you know, and then now it's like, damn, I can't even say anything to them because, like, where the fuck are we? Like, we are ass, and they are just so much better. Like, seeing them in the finals just, like, it pisses me off. And just, like, I feel like we've had so many moments where we just, like, right when I started watching basketball, it was like Derrick Rose was, like, just about to win an MVP. He had just, like, entered year 3. And then he tears his ACL. Can't recover properly. He's like injury prone. He starts slowing down. And we get Jimmy Butler, and I'm like excited for Jimmy Butler. And then that gets taken away. And ever since then, it's just been flashes of here and there. And it's just like I feel like we haven't had like happiness as like a Bulls fan in so long. And I don't know. It's just like something about the Knicks making the finals. Just like it just like annoys me even more. That just like the Bulls are just ass, and I don't know. I'm just like we better hit on this 4th pick. Like if Caleb Wilson is the guy that we draft, nah. Like I have such high expectations because seeing this Knicks shit is like it is pissing me. It is pissing me off, and like I just have to see like TikTok edits of Jalen Brunson, his like come up, and I'm like. Why can't this be Derrick Rose? Like why couldn't Derrick Rose have made the finals? Or like why couldn't Jimmy Butler make the finals on the Bulls? Like Caleb Wilson has to be a superstar. I'm sorry that's the bar I'm setting. And I know it's unrealistic, but like it has to happen.
We've been through a lot as Bulls fans. I think we've been through a lot as Bulls fans, and that's why I call it Bulls fan PTSD. But you're right. The hope should be that whoever we draft at number 4 turns into a star and a player that can lead this team, right? And that's just it. They turn into the best player on the team legitimately. And so, we'll see if that can happen. I think the sky's the limit for Caleb Wilson and Cam Boozer. I've seen some lazy comps, people trying to comp Caleb Wilson to Patrick Williams or Tyrese Thomas. You just haven't watched this kid play if that's the case. The sky's the limit there. And so, but not all potential is realized. That's why some people prefer Cam Boozer because of the high floor there. Either way, I just hope whoever the Bulls do get at number 4 turns into exactly what we need them to turn into because that's what's going to get us to where we need to be as a team, and that's the hope. But of course, the PTSD, you just listed out so much of the PTSD, and that keep in mind, I'm what, like 12 years older than you? Like imagine what more I've seen. Like it's just crazy. It's been a crazy 20 years as Bulls fans. So let's hope that brighter days are coming, y'all. All right, let's get into this last voicemail, man. This one's from Michael Korn.
Hey, good morning. Haize, Michael Korn here. Just finished listening to your pod on the OKC Thunder's cap crunch and what the Bulls could do. I'm a big OKC fan. I'm my second favorite team, miles behind my love for the Bulls, of course. My work takes me to OKC, so I've had the opportunity and the privilege to see Rose play against Westbrook, and also the last couple of years of watching a championship team dismantle the Bulls, of course. And this is what I'll say. Do not help OKC Thunder out. There's no reason to be soft on a deal. If you're going to do something, I hope Bryson Graham comes in as a negotiator who's tough. Diametrically opposed to the schmuck we had the last several years, of course. Demand more than an Isaiah Hartenstein. I like some of the players you mentioned. Isaiah Joe's a great shooter. Lou Dort, I think, is he's beyond the peak, or he's maybe just peaking now. I don't think he fits with the Bulls timeline. But negotiate from a position of strength. Don't take the players that OKC wants to just get rid of for their cap crunch. Go for players they want to keep, such as an AJ Mitchell, etc. If possible. Love the show. Looking forward to all the draft coverage. Take care, man. Thanks a lot.
I'm not saying do them any favor. Like the number 4 overall pick to get Cam Boozer, no. But I don't look at it as taking on Isaiah Hartenstein as doing them a favor because we need a center. Yeah, they can opt out the contract anyway. That's why we're not sending back a lot, right? Like send back a couple of those seconds for because you have to send something back, or if they're willing to take on a expiring contract. I don't know. We don't really have much of those. That, and let's get it done. Like Isaiah Hartenstein helps this team. Lou Dort could help this team depending on what we do in the draft, right? Like, of course, Cason Wallace is more of a long-term play there. I would love Cason Wallace, but you just don't know what's going to happen. So I think at the end of the day, the Bulls have to, like you said, first focus on helping them. It's helping them, right? They are taking advantage. And I know that people have said, like, well, if they just opt out of Isaiah Hartenstein and Lou Dort, still we can just offer them money. Yeah, you can offer them money, but then you're building against other teams. Why not just trade them, absorb them into your cap space? You get their bird rights, and then you can, rather than have to sign them, talk extension with them. So there's a lot of that plays into that. But let's see what Bryson Graham does, because I think Bryson Graham's going to have his finger on the pulse pretty damn well, right? But that's going to do it for today's episode, y'all. The Bulls losing out on Sean Sweeney sucks. And it sucks for a lot of people. But there's still some really strong coaching candidates out there. And that's why I've talked about the candidate list that Bryson Graham has built has a lot of strong candidates. They're all very similar in regards to that one. And I think that, you just got to walk away with the right guy, and we'll see if we can do that. I want to hear your guys' pairings of your favorite picks at 4 and 15. And maybe I'll talk about a little bit of those on tomorrow's episode. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. You can follow us at Bull Central Pod on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number 1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you right if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.